When hotel maid Lily Carter found a suitcase containing 100,000 in cash, she had no idea that returning it would destroy everything she thought she knew about love, money, and power. The millionaire who owned it, Marcus Reed, was about to become the most dangerous man in her life, not because he was cruel, but because he was kind. What started as a simple act of honesty would spiral into a battle between two wounded hearts, where the biggest threat wasn't losing the money, it was losing herself. But when Lily's world came crashing down and she had nowhere left to turn, she discovered that sometimes the person you're most afraid to trust is the only one who can save you. The suitcase was just the beginning. What happened next would change both their lives forever in ways neither of them saw coming. Subscribe right now and tell me what city you're watching from, because this story of forbidden love and impossible choices is about to get real. The morning sun streamed through the tall windows of First National Bank as Marcus Reed approached the teller's counter. His dark suit fit perfectly across his broad shoulders, and his polished shoes clicked softly against the marble floor. At 32, Marcus had learned that first impressions mattered in business. Every detail counted. "Good morning, Mr. Reed," the bank manager, Mrs. Patterson, greeted him with a professional smile. "Your withdrawal is ready." Marcus nodded. "Thank you. I appreciate you handling this personally." The property auction was today. Cash offers moved faster than bank transfers, and Marcus never missed an opportunity because of paperwork delays. He'd built his fortune one smart decision at a time. Tech investments first, then real estate. Every dollar earned through careful planning and hard work. Mrs. Patterson handed him a plain black suitcase. $100,000 is requested. All 20s and 50s, as you specified. Marcus gripped the handle firmly. Inside that case was his next investment, a small apartment building downtown. Nothing flashy, but the numbers worked. Buy low, improve carefully, provide good housing. That's how he did business. "The property auction starts at 2, Marcus said, checking his watch. "This should give me the edge I need." "Best of luck, Mr. Reed." Marcus walked outside where Darren waited beside a clean black sedan. Darren had been his driver for 3 years, but more than that, he was a friend, one of the few people Marcus trusted completely. "Got what you need?" Darren asked, opening the rear door. "Right here." Marcus patted the suitcase as he slid into the back seat. "Riverside Apartments won't know what hit them." Darren chuckled. "You and your cash offers. Remember when you bought that first duplex with a briefcase full of 20s? The seller thought you were either crazy or dangerous. Both options worked in my favor." Marcus smiled, but his expression quickly turned serious. "Take me to the Grandview Hotel. I need to drop this off before the auction." The Grandview was a small, upscale boutique hotel where Marcus had been staying for a week. Clean rooms, good service, and close to his meetings. Perfect for business. As they pulled up to the hotel's entrance, Marcus noticed the housekeeping staff moving efficiently through the lobby. A woman with dark hair pulled back in a neat bun directed 2 younger women pushing cleaning carts. She moved with the confidence of someone in charge. "That's Gloria," Marcus observed. "Runs a tight ship." "Hotel staff always know everything that goes on," Darren said. "Bet she could tell you stories." Marcus grabbed the suitcase and headed inside. The lobby was quiet, decorated in warm browns and golds, comfortable without being ostentatious, just the way Marcus preferred things. At the front desk, the clerk smiled. "Good morning, Mr. Reed. How can I help you today?" "I'll be in and out for meetings. If anyone needs access to my room for cleaning, that's fine. Just the usual turn-down service." "Of course, sir. We'll take good care of everything." Marcus took the elevator to the top floor. His suite was spacious but not excessive. A sitting area, bedroom, and a small kitchenette. The kind of place where he could work without distractions. He set the suitcase near the wardrobe and pulled out his laptop. Almost immediately, his phone rang. "Marcus, we have a problem." It was James, his business partner. "The auction moved up an hour. Some issue with the auctioneer's schedule." Marcus felt his stomach tighten. "That gives me less time to review the final inspection report." "I'm sending it to your email now. Also, there's another bidder sniffing around. Local developer. Might push the price higher." Marcus paced to the window, looking down at the busy street below. "How much higher?" "Maybe 10, 15,000 above our target. I can handle that." Marcus glanced at the suitcase. I brought enough cushion. They talked through strategy for another 20 minutes. Marcus reviewed the building's inspection report on his laptop, made notes about renovation costs, and calculated his maximum bid. Numbers ran through his mind like water. When his phone rang again, Marcus barely looked up from his screen. Reed. Sir, this is the front desk. We need access to your room for turn-down service. Will you be returning soon? Marcus checked the time. If he left now, he could grab lunch, review the property one more time, and still make the auction with time to spare. I'll be out for the rest of the afternoon, he said. Go ahead with the service. He grabbed his laptop bag and headed for the door. The suitcase sat where he'd left it, near the wardrobe, but not hidden. Marcus paused for a moment. Maybe he should put it in the safe. But he'd be back that evening. The hotel was secure. The staff seemed professional. Marcus shook his head. He was overthinking it. The auction started in less than 2 hours. Time to go make money. The afternoon flew by in a blur of paperwork, phone calls, and careful calculation. The property was everything Marcus had hoped for. Solid bones, good location, reasonable price, the kind of investment that built wealth steadily over time. At the auction, Marcus bid carefully and confidently. When the hammer fell, he owned a 16-unit apartment building for $92,000, $8,000 under his target price. Congratulations, Mr. Reed, the auctioneer said. Pleasure doing business with you. Marcus shook hands and signed papers. Another successful deal. Another step forward in building something lasting. But when he returned to his hotel room that evening, his confidence shattered. The suitcase was gone. Marcus stood in the doorway, staring at the empty space near the wardrobe. He'd left it right there between the wall and the wooden dresser. He dropped his laptop bag and searched frantically. Under the bed, in the closet, behind the curtains, nothing. His hands shook as he pulled out his phone. $100,000. Gone. Front desk, he said when someone answered. This is Marcus Reed in the penthouse suite. I can't find a suitcase that should be in my room. It has a lot of cash in it. 3 floors below, Lily Carter pushed her cleaning cart down the dim service hallway. Her feet ached after 10 hours of making beds, scrubbing bathrooms, and emptying trash cans. But she was almost finished with her shift. Just a few more rooms to check. The hotel's back corridors were quieter at this time of evening. Most guests were out for dinner or settled in for the night. Lily preferred these peaceful moments, time to think without Gloria breathing down her neck, or guests making special requests. Girl, I am beat, Tanya called from behind her. Tanya was 28, 3 years older than Lily, and never stopped talking. My feet are killing me, and I've got to pick up my kids from my mom's before 9, Lily smiled. Almost done, just finishing the service area. You staying late again? Just until everything's perfect. Lily had learned that doing excellent work was the best job security. When budget cuts came, they kept the reliable people. Tanya shook her head. You work too hard, Lily, but I guess that's why Gloria likes you. As Tanya headed to the elevator, Lily continued down the hallway. She thought about the conversation she'd had with her mom that morning. Ellen Carter had been a waitress for 30 years before arthritis forced her to retire. Now she worked part-time at a small neighborhood diner, but money was always tight. The electric bill's due Friday, Ellen had said over coffee. I can cover it, but it'll be close. Lily had wanted to offer help, but her own bank account was nearly empty. Hotel housekeeping didn't pay much, even with her part-time caregiving job on weekends. Every dollar went to rent, groceries, or her mom's medical bills. She tried not to think about Daniel. Her ex-fiancé had emptied their joint savings account 2 years ago, took everything and disappeared, leaving Lily with his debts and a fear of trusting anyone with money ever again. That's why she worked so hard now. Independence meant safety. She never wanted to feel powerless again. As Lily reached the end of the hallway, something caught her eye. A black suitcase sat beside the service closet, out of place and definitely not supposed to be there. Lily frowned. Guests didn't come back here. This area was for staff only. She approached carefully and found a luggage tag. Marcus Reed, penthouse suite. Mr. Reed. Lily remembered him. Tall, well-dressed black man who'd been staying at the hotel for a week. Always polite, never made a mess, tipped well, the kind of guest they all appreciated. But how did his suitcase end up back here? Lily looked around the empty hallway. She should probably call the front desk. But curiosity got the better of her. Maybe if she could figure out what was inside, she'd understand how it got here. The suitcase wasn't locked. Lily opened it just a crack and gasped. Money, stacks and stacks of cash, neatly banded and organized. More money than Lily had ever seen in one place. Her hands trembled as she closed the suitcase quickly. Her heart pounded so hard she could hear it in her ears. This was real. This was someone's fortune sitting in a hallway where anyone could find it. Lily's mind raced. The electric bill, her mom's medication costs, the rent that was always a struggle. This money could solve everything, change their lives completely. She could take it, walk away right now, who would know? But even as the thought formed, Lily felt sick. She thought about her mom's face when Ellen talked about doing the right thing, even when it was hard. Ellen had raised her daughter to be honest, to work for what she had. Lily thought about Mr. Reed returning to his room and discovering his loss. The panic he must be feeling. The phone call he was probably making right now. This money might represent his life's work, his dreams, his security. She couldn't do it. Wouldn't do it. Even if nobody ever found out, she would know. And she'd have to live with herself for the rest of her life. Lily picked up the suitcase and headed for the elevator. Her hands shook, but her decision was clear. She had to return it. At the front desk, the night clerk looked surprised to see a housekeeper carrying a guest's luggage. "Excuse me," Lily said. "I found this suitcase. It belongs to Mr. Reed in the penthouse. Can you tell me his room number?" The clerk checked his computer. "Room 1247, but he just called about a missing suitcase. He sounded very upset." "I'll take it up to him." "Are you sure? I could call security." Lily shook her head. Security made her nervous. Too many questions, too much attention. "I've got it. Thank you." The elevator ride to the 12th floor felt like forever. Lily's palms were sweating. What would she say? How would she explain finding it? The truth. She'd tell the truth and hope Mr. Reed believed her. Room 1247 was at the end of a quiet hallway. Lily stood outside the door for a long moment, holding the suitcase handle with both hands. Finally, she raised her knuckles and knocked. Marcus opened the door expecting hotel security or management. Instead, he saw a young white woman in a housekeeping uniform, standing next to his missing suitcase. For a moment, neither of them spoke. "Mr. Reed?" Lily's voice was soft but steady. "I'm Lily Carter. I work housekeeping here. I found your suitcase." Marcus stared at her. She was maybe 25 or 26, with light brown hair pulled back in a ponytail, tired eyes but a kind face. Her uniform was clean and pressed, even after what must have been a long shift. "You found it?" His voice came out sharper than he intended. "Where?" "By the service elevator, near the staff area downstairs." Lily met his eyes directly. "I saw your name on the tag and brought it straight up." Marcus felt a mix of relief and suspicion. The money was right there, 3 feet away. But why was she bringing it to him personally? Why not call security? "Come in," he said, stepping aside. "I need to check that everything's there." Lily hesitated, then followed him into the suite. Marcus pulled the suitcase inside and set it on the coffee table. He opened it carefully, counting the bundles of cash, 20, 40, 60, all the way up to $100,000, everything exactly as he'd left it. "It's all here," he said, more to himself than to Lily. "I didn't take anything." Lily's voice was quiet but firm. "I wouldn't do that." Marcus looked up at her. She stood near the door, hands clasped in front of her, looking nervous but not guilty, not like someone who'd been caught stealing. "Why didn't you just call the front desk?" he asked. "Or security?" "I thought about it." Lily shifted her weight from one foot to the other. "But you seemed really upset when you called down. I just wanted to get it back to you as fast as possible." There was something in her voice. Sincerity, maybe. Or maybe she was just a really good actress. Marcus closed the suitcase and studied Lily's face. "Do you have any idea how much money is in here?" "No," she shook her head. "I mean, I saw that it was cash, a lot of cash, but I didn't count it." $100,000? Lily's eyes widened slightly, but she didn't look surprised, just sad somehow. "That's a lot of money," she said softly. "It is." Marcus sat back in his chair. "Money that could change someone's life." "I suppose it could. But you brought it back anyway," Lily nodded. I brought it back. Marcus felt something shift in his chest. For 3 years, he'd been surrounded by people who wanted something from him. Business partners who smiled while calculating their cut. Women who saw dollar signs instead of a person. Even friends who expected him to pick up every check. But this woman, this hotel maid who probably made in a year what he spent on cars, had walked away from enough money to transform her entire world. "Why?" he asked. Lily was quiet for a long moment. "Because it wasn't mine," she finally said, "and because I need to be able to sleep at night." Something in her voice told Marcus there was more to the story. Pain, maybe. Experience with betrayal or loss. "I'm sorry I was suspicious," he said. "It's just, people usually want something from me." "I understand." Lily moved toward the door. "I should get going. I'm glad you got your money back." "Wait." Marcus stood up. "Let me give you a reward. For your honesty." Lily shook her head quickly. "That's not necessary." "It is to me." Marcus pulled out his wallet. "Please, $5,000. It's the least I can do." "No." Lily's voice was firmer now. "I didn't return it for a reward. I returned it because it was right." Marcus had never met anyone who turned down $5,000. Not in his world. "Then what can I do? There has to be something." Lily looked uncomfortable. "Really, Mr. Reed, I'm fine." But Marcus could see she wasn't fine. Her uniform was worn but carefully maintained. Her shoes were old but polished. Everything about her spoke of someone working hard to stay afloat. "What about 500?" he offered. "For groceries or bills or whatever." Lily bit her lip. Marcus could see the internal struggle on her face. "My mom has an overdue electric bill," she finally admitted. "But I don't want your money. It feels wrong." "It's not charity." Marcus's voice was gentle. "It's a thank you. You saved me from a disaster and I want to show my appreciation." After a long pause, Lily nodded slightly. 500, that's all, and only because my mom needs it." Marcus counted out the bills and held them toward her. "Thank you, Lily, for everything." Lily took the money carefully, folding it small and putting it in her uniform pocket. "Thank you, Mr. Reed." "Marcus, please call me Marcus." "Marcus?" She smiled for the first time since entering the room. It transformed her whole face. "I'm really glad you got your money back." "So am I." After Lily left, Marcus sat alone in his suite, staring at the suitcase. In one evening, his faith in people had been shattered and restored. Tomorrow he'd start renovating the apartment building he'd bought. But tonight, he couldn't stop thinking about a hotel maid who'd chosen integrity over fortune. Her name was Lily Carter. And something told him their story was just beginning. The next morning arrived gray and drizzly, matching Lily's mood as she walked to work. She'd barely slept, replaying the evening over and over in her mind. The money sat in her uniform pocket, 5 crisp $100 bills, enough to pay her mom's electric bill and buy groceries for 2 weeks. A small fortune, for someone in Lily's position. But accepting it felt complicated. Was she being smart or was she being bought? "You're quiet today," Tanya observed as they gathered their supplies for the morning shift. "Everything okay?" Lily nodded, not trusting herself to speak. How could she explain what had happened without sounding crazy? Gloria appeared with their room assignments. "Carter, you're on 12 today. Tanya, you take 8 through 10. 12. The penthouse floor. Marcus's floor. "Is Mr. Reed checking out today?" Lily asked casually. "Tomorrow," Gloria said without looking up from her clipboard. "He extended his stay for some business meeting." Lily felt her stomach flutter. She'd probably see him again. As she pushed her cleaning cart toward the elevator, Lily tried to focus on work, but her mind kept drifting back to the conversation in Marcus's suite. There had been something in his eyes when she refused the larger reward. Surprise, maybe, or respect. Like he wasn't used to people saying no to his money. The elevator dinged softly as it reached the 12th floor. Lily stepped out into the quiet hallway, immediately aware that Marcus might be behind one of these doors. She started with the rooms farthest from the penthouse suite, working her way methodically down the hall. Fresh sheets, clean towels, vacuum, dust, move on. The familiar routine helped calm her nerves. When she finally reached room 1247, Lily paused. The "Do Not Disturb" sign hung from the door handle. She was about to move on when the door opened. Marcus stood there in dark jeans and a white button-down shirt, looking more casual than she'd seen him before. His hair was slightly mussed, like he'd been running his hands through it. Lily. He seemed genuinely pleased to see her. Good morning. Good morning, Mr. Reed. I mean, Marcus. She felt heat rise in her cheeks. I was just going to skip your room since you have the sign up. Actually, I was hoping to run into you. Marcus stepped aside. Do you have a few minutes to talk? Lily glanced around the empty hallway. This felt dangerous somehow. Not because she thought Marcus would hurt her, but because she liked talking to him more than she should. I'm working, she said carefully. 5 minutes, please. Against her better judgment, Lily parked her car and followed Marcus into his suite. It looked different in the morning light, warmer somehow. Coffee? Marcus offered. I made a whole pot. I shouldn't. 1 cup. I promise I'm not trying to bribe you with caffeine. Despite herself, Lily smiled. Okay, 1 cup. Marcus poured coffee into 2 white mugs and handed one to Lily. She wrapped her hands around it, grateful for something to do. I wanted to thank you again, Marcus said. What you did last night, it meant more than you know. Anyone would have done the same thing. No, Marcus shook his head. They wouldn't have. Trust me. They stood there sipping coffee in comfortable silence. Lily studied Marcus's face in the morning light. He was undeniably handsome, but it was his eyes that drew her attention, intelligent, cautious, but kind. Can I ask you something? Marcus said. Lily nodded. Have you always worked at hotels? 3 years here. Before that, I helped take care of my grandmother. Lily set down her mug. What about you? What kind of business are you in? Real estate mostly, some tech investments. Marcus leaned against the kitchen counter. Yesterday's cash was for a property I bought, an apartment building downtown. That's exciting. It is, Marcus smiled. Want to see it sometime? I could show you what I'm planning to do with it. The question hung in the air between them. Lily felt her heart speed up. This was how it started. A nice man with money making friendly offers, being kind and generous and slowly making her dependent on his kindness. I should get back to work, Lily said quickly. Marcus's face fell slightly. Of course, I didn't mean to keep you. Lily moved toward the door, then stopped. She was being unfair. Marcus hadn't done anything wrong. He'd been nothing but polite and grateful. Maybe sometime, she said softly, when I'm not working. Marcus's smile returned. I'd like that. After Lily left, Marcus stood at his window watching the city wake up below. For the first time in months, he felt hopeful about something that had nothing to do with business. But he also sensed that Lily was running from something, the way she'd pulled back when he offered to show her the property, the sadness in her eyes when she talked about her grandmother. Whatever had hurt her, Marcus wanted to understand it, and maybe, if he was careful and patient, he could help her heal. 3 floors below, Lily finished her shift in a daze. Her hands moved automatically, making beds, cleaning bathrooms, dusting furniture, while her mind replayed every word of her conversation with Marcus. He seemed different from other wealthy men she'd encountered, quieter, more thoughtful, like he was used to being careful with people. But Lily had learned the hard way that appearances could be deceiving. Daniel had seemed wonderful too, right up until he'd stolen everything she'd saved and disappeared. As she gathered her things to leave, Gloria appeared with a stern expression. Carter, my office, now. Lily's stomach dropped. Had someone seen her in Marcus's room? Was she in trouble for accepting the money? She followed Gloria into the small office behind the front desk, trying to stay calm. Sit down. Gloria closed the door and crossed her arms. Want to tell me what happened last night? Lily's mouth went dry. What do you mean? Mr. Reed called the front desk about a missing suitcase. Then suddenly it was found and returned. The desk clerk said you brought it up personally. I found it in the service area, Lily said carefully. I recognized his name and brought it to him. Just like that. Just like that. Gloria studied Lily's face for a long moment. Mr. Reed is an important guest, Carter. If something had gone missing from his room, nothing went missing. I found it and returned it. Fine. Gloria sat back in her chair. But I'm watching you. Wealthy guests sometimes make accusations when they lose things. I don't want any problems. Lily nodded, not trusting herself to speak. You can go. As Lily walked home through the drizzle, she thought about Gloria's warning. It hadn't occurred to her that returning the suitcase might make her look suspicious instead of honest. What if other people thought she'd stolen it and then panicked? What if Marcus changed his mind about her character? By the time she reached her apartment, Lily had convinced herself that staying away from Marcus Reed was the smartest thing she could do. But as she sat at her kitchen table paying her mother's electric bill with Marcus's money, she couldn't stop wondering what his apartment building looked like. And despite her better judgment, part of her hoped she'd see him again. 2 days later, Lily was folding towels in the hotel laundry room when Tanya burst through the door with wide eyes and a huge grin. "Girl, you're not going to believe what I just heard," Tanya whispered, even though they were alone. Lily's stomach tightened. "What?" "Gloria's been asking questions about you and that rich guy in the penthouse, Mr. Reed." Tanya moved closer, her voice dropping even lower. "Someone saw you going into his room the other night, alone." Heat flooded Lily's cheeks. I returned something he lost. That's all." "Uh-huh." Tanya's grin widened. "Honey, that man is fine and rich. If he's interested in you." "He's not interested in me." Lily turned back to her folding, hands moving faster than necessary. "We barely know each other." "But you want him to be interested." Lily didn't answer, but her silence was answer enough. "Look," Tanya said, her voice gentler now, "I'm just saying, be careful. Gloria's already suspicious, and you know how hotel gossip spreads. Rich guests and staff." She shrugged. "People talk." After Tanya left, Lily sat alone among the clean towels, thinking about the warning. She'd worked hard to build a good reputation at the Grandview. Getting involved with a guest, especially a wealthy one, could ruin everything. But when she closed her eyes, she could still see Marcus's smile. The way he'd looked genuinely grateful, not just polite. The way he'd offered her coffee like she was a person worth talking to, not just the help. Lily shook her head. She was being ridiculous. One conversation didn't mean anything. Across town, Marcus sat in his newly purchased apartment building, surveying the work that needed to be done. The structure was solid, but the units required updating. New appliances, fresh paint, modern fixtures, the kind of improvements that would let him charge fair rent while providing quality housing. "What do you think?" he asked Darren, who was examining a kitchen cabinet. "Good bones," Darren said. "Needs work, but nothing crazy. How long you planning to stay at the hotel while this gets done?" "Another week, maybe 2. Marcus pulled out his phone to make notes about contractor estimates. "Depends on how fast I can get the permits." "Speaking of the hotel," Darren said with a sly smile, "how's that maid who found your money?" Marcus looked up from his phone. "Her name is Lily, and she's fine, I guess." "You guess?" "I talked to her yesterday morning. She seems careful." "Careful how?" Marcus thought about the way Lily had pulled back when he offered to show her the building, the sadness in her eyes when she mentioned her grandmother. "Like someone hurt her," he said finally. Darren nodded knowingly. "And you want to fix it. I want to understand it. Same thing with you." Darren sat down on a paint bucket. "Marcus, man, you can't save everybody." "I'm not trying to save anybody." "Right." Darren's expression was skeptical. "Just like you weren't trying to save Jessica or Monica before her." Marcus felt his jaw tighten. Jessica had been his last serious relationship, a marketing executive who'd seemed independent and successful until she started expecting expensive gifts and exotic vacations. When Marcus realized she was more interested in his wallet than his heart, the breakup had been ugly. "This is different," Marcus said. "How?" "Lily gave back $100,000, Darren. She could have taken it and disappeared, but she chose to do the right thing. That means something. It means she's honest. Doesn't mean she's right for you." Marcus understood his friend's concern. For 3 years, he'd attracted women who saw dollar signs instead of a person. But something about Lily felt different. Real. "I'm not saying marry her," Marcus said. "I'm saying maybe I could get to know her better. And maybe she's got her own reasons for being careful around rich guys." That possibility had occurred to Marcus too. Lily's hesitation felt personal, like experience rather than shyness. "Then I'll take it slow," he said. Darren chuckled. "When was the last time you took anything slow?" Marcus couldn't argue with that. In business, he moved fast and decisively. In relationships, he'd done the same thing. Maybe that was part of the problem. There's a first time for everything, Marcus said. That evening, Lily walked into her mother's small apartment carrying groceries and the paid electric bill. Ellen Carter looked up from the couch where she was watching the news, her arthritic hands wrapped around a cup of tea. "How was work, sweetheart?" "Fine." Lily set the groceries on the kitchen counter. "I paid your electric bill today." Ellen's eyebrows rose. "With what money? I told you I could handle it." Lily had been dreading this conversation all day. Her mom knew her finances as well as her own. There was no way to explain $500 without telling the truth. "Someone gave me a reward," Lily said carefully, "for returning something they lost." "A reward? What did you find, the crown jewels?" Despite her nerves, Lily smiled. Not quite. She told her mother the story, watching Ellen's expression change from curiosity to amazement to worry. $100,000? Ellen set down her tea with shaking hands. "Lily, honey, that's more money than most people see in a lifetime." "I know. And you gave it back." "Of course I gave it back. It wasn't mine." Ellen was quiet for a long moment. "This man, Mr. Reed, what's he like?" Lily felt heat rise in her cheeks again. "He seems nice, polite, grateful. And what?" Ellen gave her daughter a knowing look. And you like him." There was no point in lying to her mother. Ellen had raised Lily alone after her father died when Lily was 8. They told each other everything. "He's different," Lily admitted. "Not like other wealthy people I've met at the hotel." "Different how?" "Quieter, more thoughtful, like he's not trying to impress anybody." Ellen nodded slowly. "And you're scared?" "Yes, because of Daniel." Lily's ex-fiancé had charmed Ellen too at first. Brought flowers, complimented her cooking, talked about taking care of both of them, right up until he'd stolen their savings and disappeared. "Daniel wasn't rich," Lily said, "but he used money to control me, made me feel like I needed him to survive. I don't ever want to feel that powerless again." "Honey," Ellen reached for Lily's hand, "not every man is Daniel." "How do I know the difference?" "Time," Ellen said simply, "and trust. But you can't build either if you don't give people a chance." That night, Lily lay in her narrow bed thinking about her mother's words. Ellen was right about needing to give people chances, but she was also right about being careful. The question was whether Marcus Reed was worth the risk. The next morning brought new complications. Lily was cleaning a room on the 8th floor when Gloria appeared in the doorway with her arms crossed. "Carter, walk with me." They went to the supply closet where Gloria closed the door behind them. "I've been getting questions about you," Gloria said without preamble. "What kind of questions?" "The kind that come from management when expensive guests start asking about specific staff members." Lily's heart stopped. "Mr. Reed asked about me?" "Not directly, but he mentioned your name to the front desk manager. Said you provided excellent service." Gloria's eyes narrowed. "Want to tell me what kind of excellent service you've been providing?" The implication was clear and ugly. Lily felt anger rise in her chest. "I found his lost property and returned it," she said evenly. "That's all." "Is it?" "Yes." Gloria studied Lily's face. "Look, Carter, I don't know what's going on between you and Mr. Reed, but I'm warning you. Rich guests sometimes get ideas about the staff, and when things go bad, it's always the employee who gets fired." "Nothing's going on." "Good. Keep it that way." Gloria opened the supply closet door. "Mr. Reed is checking out tomorrow." After that, this conversation never happened. Lily spent the rest of her shift in a haze of humiliation and anger. The idea that Gloria thought she was trading favors for money made her sick, but worse was the knowledge that other people might think the same thing. She was so distracted that she nearly ran her cleaning cart into someone getting off the elevator on the 12th floor. "Sorry," she mumbled, then looked up to see Marcus standing there in a dark suit looking concerned. "Lily, are you okay?" "I'm fine." She tried to move past him, but Marcus stepped sideways, blocking her path gently. "You don't look fine." Lily glanced around the empty hallway, then made a decision. If this was going to ruin her reputation anyway, she might as well be honest. "Can I ask you something?" she said. "Of course." "Did you mention me to hotel management?" Marcus looked confused. "I told the front desk manager that you provided excellent service." "Why?" Lily felt her heart sink. "Because now my supervisor thinks I'm sleeping with you for money." The words hung in the air between them. Marcus's face went through several emotions: surprise, understanding, and then anger. She said that? Not in so many words, but the meaning was clear. Marcus was quiet for a moment. I'm sorry. I was trying to compliment you, not cause problems. I know. Lily's anger wasn't directed at him. It's just, this is exactly what I was afraid of. What do you mean? Lily looked at Marcus's expensive suit, his confident posture, the way he carried himself like someone used to being in charge, even trying to be considerate. He lived in a different world. You can compliment my work because you have money and influence, she said. But I'm the one who has to deal with the consequences. Marcus's face fell as he understood. You're right. I didn't think about how it would look from your perspective. Most people don't. They stood there in uncomfortable silence until Marcus spoke again. Is there anything I can do to fix this? You're checking out tomorrow. After that, it won't matter. But even as Lily said it, she felt a pang of loss. Whatever this was between them, it would end when Marcus left the hotel. What if I don't want it to not matter? Marcus asked quietly. Lily looked up at him, surprised by the vulnerability in his voice. I don't understand. What if I want to see you again, away from here where your job isn't an issue? Lily's pulse quickened. Marcus, I'm not asking you to move in with me or accept expensive gifts, Marcus said quickly. I'm asking if you'd like to have dinner sometime, somewhere normal. Dutch treat if that makes you more comfortable. The offer was tempting, more than tempting. But Lily had learned to be suspicious of what seemed too good to be true. Why? She asked. Because you're the first person in years who's talked to me like I'm a human being instead of a bank account. Because you returned $100,000 when you could have kept it. Because when you smile, you light up the whole room. Lily felt her resolve weakening. This is a bad idea. Probably, Marcus agreed, but maybe some bad ideas are worth the risk. Before Lily could respond, the elevator dinged and two businessmen stepped out, deep in conversation. The spell was broken. I should get back to work, Lily said. Think about it? Marcus asked. Please? Lily nodded, not trusting herself to speak, and hurried away with her cleaning cart. That evening, Lily sat at her kitchen table with her phone in her hands, staring at the number Marcus had quietly given her before she left the hotel. She'd been thinking about his offer all afternoon. Dinner, somewhere normal. Dutch treat. It sounded simple, but Lily knew nothing about Marcus Reed was simple. He was a millionaire. She was a hotel maid. Even if his intentions were good, they came from different worlds. Her phone buzzed with a text from her mom. How was work? Want to come over for leftover soup? Lily smiled, despite her confusion. Ellen always knew when her daughter needed to talk. 20 minutes later, Lily was sitting at her mother's kitchen table, eating vegetable soup and trying to explain her dilemma. So he asked you to dinner, Ellen said after hearing the whole story. Yes? And you're scared? Yes. Because he has money. Because I don't know what he wants from me, Lily corrected. Rich men don't usually ask out hotel maids unless they want something specific. Ellen set down her spoon. Honey, what if you're wrong? What if he just likes you? Then I'm completely out of my league. Or maybe he's lucky to know you. Lily looked at her mother's weathered hands, thought about the years Ellen had worked double shifts to keep them afloat, the sacrifices she'd made, the dignity she'd maintained even when money was tight. What would you do? Lily asked. 20 years ago. I probably would have been too scared to find out. Ellen reached across the table and squeezed Lily's hand. But I'm older now, and I've learned that being safe isn't the same as being happy. What if he breaks my heart? What if he doesn't? That night, Lily lay awake thinking about her mother's question. What if Marcus was exactly what he seemed, a successful man who was attracted to her honesty and kindness? What if she let fear make her decision and spent the rest of her life wondering what might have been? At midnight, she picked up her phone and typed a careful message. I get off work at 6 tomorrow. Is there a diner near the hotel where we could meet? The response came back almost immediately. Yes? Tony's on 5th Street. Simple food, good coffee. I'll see you there at 6:30. Lily stared at the phone screen, her heart racing. She'd just agreed to have dinner with a millionaire. Either she was making the best decision of her life or the biggest mistake. The next day passed in a blur of nervous energy. Lily cleaned rooms with unusual efficiency, changed her clothes twice during her break, and checked her reflection in every mirror she passed. Tanya noticed her distraction immediately. "You're glowing today," she observed as they stocked their cleaning carts. "What's got you so happy?" "I'm not glowing." "You're definitely glowing, and you're wearing lip gloss. You never wear lip gloss to work." Lily touched her lips self-consciously. "It's just chapstick." "Uh-huh," Tanya grinned. "This wouldn't have anything to do with Mr. Fine and Rich checking out today, would it? His name is Marcus, and no. So you're not meeting him for dinner tonight." Lily stopped loading towels and stared at her coworker. "How did you know that?" "I didn't, but I do now." Tanya's grin widened. "Girl, you better tell me everything." Against her better judgment, Lily found herself explaining about the dinner invitation. Tanya listened with growing excitement. "This is like a fairy tale," Tanya said when Lily finished. "Poor girl meets rich prince. He falls in love with her honesty." "It's not like that," Lily interrupted. "It's just dinner." "At a diner, where normal people eat." Tanya nodded approvingly. "Smart man. He's trying to make you comfortable. Or he's embarrassed to be seen with me somewhere nice. Or he's trying to show you he's not just about flash and money." Tanya grabbed Lily's shoulders. "Honey, some chances are worth taking, and this man sounds worth taking a chance on." As 6 o'clock approached, Lily's nerves kicked into overdrive. She changed clothes again in the hotel locker room, settling on dark jeans and a blue sweater that brought out her eyes. Simple, but nice. Tony's Diner was a 5-minute walk from the hotel. Small, clean, with red vinyl booths and a menu posted behind the counter. Exactly the kind of place where a hotel maid would feel comfortable. Lily spotted Marcus immediately. He sat in a corner booth, wearing jeans and a simple green shirt. Without his expensive suit, he looked younger, more approachable. He stood as she approached, smiling nervously. "Hi." "Hi?" Lily slid into the booth across from him, suddenly shy. "Thank you for coming," Marcus said. "I wasn't sure you would." "I wasn't sure either." They sat in awkward silence for a moment until a waitress appeared with menus and coffee. The familiar ritual of ordering food helped break the tension. "So," Marcus said after the waitress left, "tell me something about yourself that isn't related to work or lost suitcases." Lily thought about it. "I like old movies, the kind from the 1940s with strong women and witty dialogue." "Like what?" "His Girl Friday," "The Philadelphia Story." Movies where the women have jobs and opinions and don't wait around for men to rescue them. Marcus smiled. "I like that too. About the women, I mean, and the movies. Though I'm more of a sports fan myself." "What kind of sports?" "Basketball mostly. College and pro. I played in high school, but I wasn't good enough for college." Lily tried to imagine Marcus as a teenager, all elbows and determination on a basketball court. The image made him seem more human somehow. "What made you get into real estate?" she asked. "Control," Marcus said honestly. "When you own property, you have something solid, something that can't be taken away as easily as a job or a bank account." There was something in his voice that made Lily look at him more carefully. "It sounds like you have experience with things being taken away." Marcus was quiet for a moment. "My dad worked for the same company for 20 years. Middle management, good benefits, steady paycheck. Then they downsized and he lost everything at 55. Too old to start over, too young to retire." "What happened to him?" "He never really recovered. Died of a heart attack 3 years later." Marcus stirred his coffee unnecessarily. "I decided early that I wouldn't let anyone else control my future." Lily understood that kind of fear, the need to protect yourself from being powerless. "Is that why you're suspicious of people who want things from you?" she asked. "Part of it." Marcus looked up from his coffee. "Success attracts the wrong kind of attention sometimes, people who see dollar signs instead of a person. That must be lonely." "It is." His honesty surprised them both. "What about you? What made you so careful around money?" Lily had known this question was coming, but it still made her stomach tighten. She told Marcus about Daniel, keeping it simple but honest. The engagement, the joint savings account, the betrayal. "He left you with his debts?" Marcus asked, anger flashing in his eyes. "Some of them. I paid what I could and ignored the rest. My credit's still recovering." "That's why you were tempted by the suitcase." "And why I couldn't take it." Lily met his eyes. I never want to be the kind of person who solves problems by taking things that don't belong to me. Marcus reached across the table and covered her hand with his. The touch was warm and gentle. I'm sorry that happened to you, he said, and I'm glad you didn't let it change who you are. They talked for 2 hours about books and movies, childhood memories, dreams for the future. Lily learned that Marcus had put himself through college, that he still sent money to his mother in Detroit, that he coached youth basketball on weekends. Marcus learned that Lily had wanted to be a teacher before financial reality made college impossible, that she read voraciously despite working 2 jobs, that she made her mother laugh with impressions of difficult hotel guests. By the time they left the diner, Lily felt like she'd been talking to an old friend. The nervous energy was replaced by something warmer and more dangerous. They walked slowly back toward the hotel, neither wanting the evening to end. I had a good time, Lily said as they reached the corner where they'd have to part ways. So did I. Marcus stopped walking and turned to face her. Can I see you again? The question had been hanging between them all evening. Lily looked at his face in the streetlight, searching for any sign of insincerity. All she saw was hope. Yes, she said quietly. I'd like that. Marcus smiled, and Lily felt something shift in her chest, something that felt like the beginning of falling. I'll call you tomorrow, he said. Okay. They stood there for another moment, the air between them charged with possibility. Then Marcus leaned down and kissed her softly on the cheek. Good night, Lily. Good night. As Lily walked home, she touched the spot where Marcus had kissed her. For the first time in 2 years, she felt hopeful about something that had nothing to do with work or bills or survival. Maybe, just maybe, some chances were worth taking after all. The next morning brought reality crashing back. Lily was barely through the hotel's employee entrance when Gloria appeared at her elbow. My office, now. Lily followed her supervisor through the lobby, trying to ignore the curious looks from the front desk staff. Whatever this was about, it wasn't going to be good. Gloria closed her office door and turned to face Lily with her arms crossed. Want to tell me about your dinner last night? Lily's blood ran cold. Excuse me? Tony's Diner. You and Mr. Reed. Looking very cozy according to my source. The hotel grapevine was faster than the internet. Lily shouldn't have been surprised, but the invasion of privacy still stung. We had dinner, Lily said evenly. Is that against hotel policy? Don't get smart with me, Carter. You know exactly what this looks like. It looks like 2 adults having a meal. It looks like an employee cozying up to a wealthy guest for personal gain. Lily felt her temper flare. Mr. Reed is no longer a guest. He checked out yesterday. Which makes this even worse. Now it looks like you've been pursuing him. I haven't pursued anyone. Gloria sat down behind her desk and pulled out a folder. I'm writing you up for inappropriate conduct with a guest. 1 more incident, and you're terminated. Lily stared at the disciplinary form, her hands shaking with anger. This is ridiculous. I haven't done anything wrong. You've created the appearance of impropriety. In the hospitality industry, appearance matters as much as reality. So if I go on a date, I get written up? If you go on a date with a guest who's been asking questions about you, yes. Gloria handed her the form to sign. Lily wanted to tear it up, to quit on the spot, to tell Gloria exactly what she thought of her insinuations. But she needed this job. Her mother needed health insurance. The rent was due in 2 weeks. Lily signed the form with shaking hands. This is unfair, she said quietly. Fair or not, it's done. Gloria filed the paperwork. I suggest you think very carefully about your future choices, Carter. The Grandview has a reputation to maintain. Lily left the office feeling humiliated and angry. She'd done nothing wrong, but she was being punished anyway. Punished for having dinner with a man who treated her with respect. As she gathered her cleaning supplies, Tanya appeared at her side with sympathetic eyes. I heard, Tanya said quietly. I'm sorry. How does everyone know already? Gloria's been calling people into her office all morning, making sure everyone knows what happens when you get too friendly with the guests. Lily felt sick. She was being made an example of. For what it's worth, Tanya continued, most of us think it's bullshit. You're the hardest worker here and everyone knows it. The support meant something, but it didn't change Lily's situation. She was now on thin ice at her job, all because she'd dared to have dinner with a man who happened to have money. As Lily began her shift, she wondered if seeing Marcus again was worth risking everything she'd worked for. But then she remembered the way he'd looked at her across the dinner table, the genuine interest in his eyes when she talked about old movies and her dreams of teaching. Maybe some things were worth fighting for. The question was whether Marcus would still want to see her when he learned what her honesty had cost her. Marcus called that afternoon, just as he'd promised. Lily was on her lunch break, sitting alone in the hotel employee cafeteria, picking at a sandwich she couldn't taste. "How was your day?" Marcus asked, his voice warm through the phone. Lily looked around the nearly empty cafeteria, making sure no one could overhear. "Complicated?" "What kind of complicated?" Lily told him about Gloria's warning, the disciplinary write-up, the whispers from other staff members. With each detail, Marcus's silence grew heavier. "I'm sorry," he said finally. "This is my fault." "No, it's not. I should have thought about how it would affect you. I should have been more careful." Lily heard the guilt in his voice and felt her own resolve strengthen. "Marcus, I made the choice to have dinner with you. Nobody forced me. But you're being punished for it. I'm being punished for other people's assumptions. There's a difference." Marcus was quiet for a moment. "What do you want to do?" The question hung between them. Lily could hear the unspoken offer. If seeing him was causing problems, he'd walk away. No questions, no pressure. The kindness of it made her throat tight. "I want to see you again," she said quietly, "but maybe we need to be more careful." "How careful?" "No more restaurants near the hotel. No more places where hotel staff might see us. Lily, I don't want you to feel like you have to hide." "I'm not hiding. I'm being smart." Lily looked up as Tanya entered the cafeteria, offering a supportive smile. "Besides, maybe it's better this way. Less pressure." They made plans to meet at a coffee shop across town the next evening. Somewhere neutral, somewhere safe from Gloria's network of informants. After hanging up, Lily sat staring at her phone. Part of her wondered if she was being foolish, risking her job for a man she barely knew. But another part of her refused to let fear make her choices. She'd spent 2 years rebuilding her life after Daniel. She wasn't going to let Gloria's disapproval undo that progress. The next evening, Lily took 2 buses to reach the coffee shop Marcus had suggested. Bean. There was a small, cozy place in a quiet neighborhood, filled with mismatched chairs and local artwork. The kind of place where nobody knew her or cared what she did for work. Marcus was already there when she arrived, sitting at a corner table with 2 steaming mugs. He stood when he saw her, his face breaking into a smile that made her stomach flutter. "Thank you for coming," he said, pulling out her chair. "Thank you for the coffee." Lily wrapped her hands around the warm mug, breathing in the rich aroma. "This place is nice. Darren recommended it. He said it was where normal people go." "As opposed to abnormal people like millionaires?" Marcus laughed. "Something like that." They talked easily, picking up conversations from the night before. Marcus told her about his progress on the apartment building, how he'd spent the day interviewing contractors and reviewing renovation plans. "I want to keep the rent affordable," he explained. "Good housing shouldn't be a luxury." Lily studied his face as he spoke. There was passion there, genuine care for something beyond profit margins. "That's unusual, isn't it?" she asked. "Most landlords charge whatever the market will bear." Most landlords didn't grow up in apartments where the heat got shut off every winter. Marcus's voice was matter-of-fact, without self-pity. "I remember what it's like to worry about having a safe place to live." "Is that what drives you? Making sure other people don't have to worry?" Marcus considered the question. "Partly, but it's also good business. Happy tenants take care of properties. Fair rent means lower turnover. Treating people well usually pays off in the long run." Lily smiled. "You're not what I expected a millionaire to be like." "What did you expect?" "Someone more flashy, more arrogant." "Sorry to disappoint." "I'm not disappointed." Their eyes met across the small table, and Lily felt that same flutter of connection she'd experienced at dinner. Marcus reached across and touched her hand gently. "Can I ask you something?" he said. Lily nodded. "What would you do if money wasn't an issue? If you could have any job, any life you wanted?" The question caught her off guard. Lily had spent so long focused on survival that dreams felt like luxuries she couldn't afford. I used to want to teach, she said slowly. Elementary school. I love kids, and I think I'd be good at it. What stopped you? College is expensive. After my dad died, my mom couldn't afford to send me. And after Daniel, Lily shrugged. Student loans seemed too risky. You could still do it, Marcus said gently. Community college first, then transfer. Financial aid, scholarships, there are ways. Maybe. Lily looked down at her coffee. It's hard to think about the future when you're barely managing the present. I understand that, but maybe it's also important to have something to work toward. They sat in comfortable silence for a while, watching other customers come and go. A young couple sharing a piece of cake, an elderly man reading a newspaper, college students hunched over laptops. This feels normal, Lily said suddenly. What does? This, sitting here talking with you. It doesn't feel like you're rich and I'm poor. It just feels like us. Marcus smiled. That's because money doesn't change who someone is inside. It just changes how other people see them, and how they see themselves sometimes. True, Marcus finished his coffee. Want to take a walk? There's a park nearby. The evening was warm, with a gentle breeze that carried the scent of blooming flowers. They walked slowly through tree-lined paths, talking about books they'd read and places they'd like to visit. I've never been outside the state, Lily admitted, unless you count that one trip to a casino in Nevada with my mom, which I don't. Where would you go first? The ocean. I've seen it in movies, but never in person. Marcus stopped walking. Really? You've never seen the ocean? Really? We should fix that. The casual way he said it made Lily's heart race, like they had time, like there would be future trips and shared experiences. Marcus, she said carefully, where do you see this going? The question surprised them both. Lily hadn't planned to ask it, but suddenly she needed to know. Marcus was quiet for a moment, choosing his words carefully. I don't know, he said honestly. I know I like spending time with you. I know you make me laugh, and you make me think about things differently. I know I want to keep getting to know you. But I also know that liking someone and building a life with them are different things. We come from different worlds, Lily. I don't want to pretend that doesn't matter. Lily appreciated his honesty, even as it stung a little. So what do? We take it one day at a time. We see where it goes without forcing it into something it's not ready to be. They found a bench beside a small pond and sat watching ducks paddle lazily across the water. Marcus's arm was around her shoulders, and Lily felt herself relaxing into his warmth. Can I tell you something? She said. Anything. I'm scared. Of what? Of liking you too much. Of letting you matter to me and then having it all fall apart. Marcus's arm tightened around her. I'm scared too. Of what? Of you deciding I'm not worth the trouble. Of my money ruining something good before it has a chance to grow. Lily looked up at him. Your money doesn't scare me, Marcus. The way other people react to it does. Like your supervisor. Like everyone, Lily sighed. At the hotel, people are already talking, saying I'm trying to trap you or use you somehow. And these are people who know me, who know I'm not like that. What about your family? What does your mom think? Lily smiled despite her worries. She likes you, says you have kind eyes and good manners. She also said I'd be an idiot to let other people's opinions make my choices for me. Smart woman. Very smart. She's been through her own struggles with men who weren't what they seemed, but she said you feel different. Different how? Honest, like you're not trying to be anything other than yourself. Marcus was quiet for a moment. What about you? What do you think? Lily turned in his arms so she could see his face clearly. In the fading light, he looked younger, more vulnerable. I think you're the first man in years who's made me want to take a chance, she said softly. Marcus leaned down and kissed her then, gentle and sweet under the evening sky. When they broke apart, Lily felt breathless and hopeful and terrified all at once. One day at a time, Marcus asked, one day at a time. Over the next 2 weeks, they fell into a careful routine. Coffee had been there twice a week, phone calls during Lily's breaks, text messages that made her smile during long shifts. Marcus showed her pictures of his apartment building renovation, Lily told him stories about difficult guests and Gloria's increasing paranoia. They talked about everything and nothing, building trust slowly and carefully. But the outside world kept intruding. At work, Gloria watched Lily like a hawk, looking for any excuse to escalate her discipline. Other staff members whispered when they thought she couldn't hear. Some were supportive, but others seemed to think she was getting above herself. "Just ignore them," Tanya advised one afternoon as they restocked cleaning supplies. "Half of them are just jealous." "Jealous of what? Getting written up by management?" "Jealous that you found someone who treats you right. When's the last time any of us went on a real date?" Lily had to admit Tanya had a point. Most of the hotel staff were single mothers or women working multiple jobs just to survive. Romance was a luxury few could afford, but the attention still made her uncomfortable. Lily had spent her adult life trying to blend in, to avoid drawing notice. Being the subject of gossip felt dangerous, even when it wasn't malicious. The pressure from outside work was subtler, but just as real. When Lily mentioned Marcus to her elderly caregiving client, Mrs. Patterson, the woman's eyebrows had risen with concern. "A millionaire, dear? Are you sure that's wise?" "Why wouldn't it be?" "Well, men like that, they're used to having their way. They don't understand how the rest of us live." Similar comments came from the grocery store clerk who'd known Lily for years, from her mom's neighbor, from the woman who cut her hair. Everyone had an opinion about whether someone like her should be dating someone like him. The weight of other people's expectations began to wear on Lily. She started second-guessing every conversation with Marcus, wondering if she was saying the right things or coming across as too simple, too naive. Marcus seemed to sense her growing tension during their third week of dating. "You're quiet tonight," he observed over coffee. "Just tired." "Lily," Marcus's voice was gentle but firm, "what's really going on?" She told him about the comments, the looks, the constant feeling that everyone was waiting for her to fail or embarrass herself. "Maybe they're right," she said quietly. "Maybe this is too complicated." Marcus reached across the table and took her hands. "Do you want to stop seeing me?" "No." "Then don't let other people make that choice for you." "It's not that simple, Marcus. You don't understand what it's like to have everyone watching you, waiting for you to screw up." Marcus was quiet for a long moment. "Actually, I do understand. Do you think it's been easy being a successful black man in business? Do you know how many people assume I must have gotten my money illegally? How many times I've been stopped by police for driving a nice car in the wrong neighborhood?" Lily felt heat rise in her cheeks. She hadn't thought about the racial component of their relationship, the additional layer of judgment Marcus faced. "I'm sorry," she said. "You're right. I wasn't thinking." "We both face assumptions," Marcus said gently. "The difference is, I stopped letting other people's ignorance control my life a long time ago." "How?" "By focusing on what I know to be true instead of what other people think they know." Marcus squeezed her hands. "I know you're kind, honest, and strong. I know you make me laugh and challenge me to be better. I know that when I'm with you, I feel more like myself than I have in years." Lily felt tears prick her eyes. "Marcus, I also know that if you decide this is too hard, I'll respect that decision. But I don't want you to make it because you're afraid of what other people will say." That night, Lily lay awake thinking about Marcus's words. She thought about her mother, who had raised her alone despite what neighbors said about single mothers, about her grandmother, who had worked as a seamstress well into her 70s, because she loved creating beautiful things. Strong women in her family had never let other people's opinions dictate their choices. Maybe it was time for Lily to follow their example. The turning point came on a Friday evening in mid-April. Lily was leaving work when she saw a familiar figure waiting by the hotel's side entrance. Marcus stood near his car, wearing jeans and a casual shirt, holding a small bouquet of flowers. When he saw her, his face lit up with a smile that made her heart skip. "What are you doing here?" Lily asked, glancing around nervously. "It's Friday night, and you've had a long week. I thought maybe you'd like to do something spontaneous." "Like what?" "Like letting me cook dinner for you at my place." Lily felt a flutter of nervousness. They'd been dating for 3 weeks, but she'd never been to his home. It felt like a significant step. "Marcus, I don't know. Nothing has to happen except dinner," he said quickly. I just want to do something nice for you, something that doesn't involve hiding in coffee shops or worrying about who might see us." Before Lily could answer, she heard Gloria's voice behind her. "Carter, what's going on here?" Lily turned to see her supervisor approaching with suspicious eyes. Gloria looked from Lily to Marcus to the flowers in his hands. "Nothing's going on," Lily said quickly. "I was just—" "Mr. Reed," Gloria interrupted, her voice artificially sweet. "How nice to see you again. I hope your stay with us was satisfactory." "Very satisfactory, thank you." Marcus's voice was polite but cool. "I was just inviting Miss Carter to dinner. I hope that's not a problem." Gloria's smile was sharp. "Of course not. Miss Carter's personal life is her own business, as long as it doesn't interfere with her professional responsibilities." The warning was clear. Lily felt anger rise in her chest, but before she could respond, Marcus stepped forward. "I'm glad to hear that," he said smoothly, "because I'd hate to think that an employee of the Grandview would be harassed for her choice of dining companions. That would reflect very poorly on the hotel's reputation." The subtle threat hung in the air. Gloria's smile faltered slightly as she realized she was dealing with someone who understood power and wasn't afraid to use it. "Of course not," Gloria said stiffly. "We pride ourselves on treating all our employees with respect." "I'm sure you do." Marcus turned back to Lily with a warm smile. "So, dinner? I promise my cooking is edible." In that moment, Lily made her choice. She was tired of hiding, tired of letting Gloria's disapproval dictate her decisions, tired of being ashamed of something that made her happy. "I'd love dinner," she said clearly, loud enough for Gloria to hear. Marcus's smile was radiant. "Excellent. Shall we go?" As they walked toward his car, Lily could feel Gloria's eyes burning into her back. But for the first time in weeks, she didn't care. She was done letting fear make her choices. Marcus opened the passenger door for her, and as Lily settled into the leather seat, she felt something shift inside her. This might be complicated, it might be risky, but it was also real. And maybe real was worth fighting for. Marcus's condominium was nothing like what Lily had expected. She'd imagined something flashy and intimidating, all marble and gold and expensive art. Instead, she found herself in a warm, comfortable space filled with books, family photos, and furniture that looked lived in rather than showcased. "This is nice," she said, looking around the open-plan living area. "It feels like home." That was the idea. Marcus set the flowers in a vase and began pulling ingredients from the refrigerator. "I spent too many years in hotel rooms and corporate apartments. When I finally bought a place, I wanted it to feel real." Lily wandered over to a bookshelf lined with novels, business texts, and photo albums. One picture caught her eye. A younger Marcus in a basketball uniform, arm around a tall black woman with kind eyes. "That's my mom," Marcus said, noticing her interest. "Taken at my high school graduation. She's beautiful. Do you see her often?" "Every few months. She still lives in Detroit, refuses to let me buy her a bigger place. Says the neighborhood is full of memories." Lily smiled. "Sounds like my mom. Stubborn about accepting help." "Speaking of which, how did your mom take the news about us?" "She wants to meet you. Fair warning. She's protective and asks a lot of questions." Marcus paused in his chopping of vegetables. "I'd like to meet her too." The casual way he said it made Lily's heart race. Meeting parents was serious relationship territory. "Really?" "Really, if she's important to you, she's important to me." They cooked together, Marcus handling the main course while Lily made a simple salad. It felt domestic and natural, like something they'd done 100 times before. "You're good at this," Lily observed as Marcus efficiently seasoned chicken and rice. "My mom insisted I learn. Said she wasn't raising a man who'd starve without a woman to cook for him." "Smart woman. Very smart. She cleaned houses for 20 years to put me through college. Never complained, never asked for credit. Just did what needed to be done." Lily heard the deep respect in his voice. "That's where you learned about hard work. That and watching my dad struggle after he lost his job. I promised myself I'd never be that vulnerable again." They ate at Marcus's small dining table, candles flickering between them. The food was delicious, but Lily found herself more interested in watching Marcus's face as he talked about his plans for the apartment building. "I want to install a community garden," he said. "Give people a chance to grow their own food, build relationships with their neighbors. That's beautiful. It's also practical. Happy communities are stable communities, and stable communities are good investments. Lily smiled at the way he balanced idealism with business sense. You've thought of everything. I try to. Marcus reached across the table and took her hand. What about you? Have you given any more thought to teaching? Some. Lily looked down at their joined hands. I've been researching night programs at the community college. Maybe I could start with just one class. That's a great idea. It would take years to get a degree. So, you'll be years older anyway. Might as well be years older with a teaching degree. Lily laughed. You make it sound simple. Maybe it is simple. Maybe we just make it complicated by overthinking it. After dinner, they sat on Marcus's couch, Lily curled against his side while soft jazz played in the background. For the first time in weeks, she felt completely relaxed. Thank you, she said quietly. For what? For standing up to Gloria tonight, for not letting her intimidate you. Marcus pressed a kiss to the top of her head. No one should have to choose between their job and their personal life. In my world, they do it all the time. Then maybe your world needs to change. Lily looked up at him. Not everyone has your confidence, Marcus. Some of us can't afford to make waves. I understand that. But I also think you're stronger than you give yourself credit for. What makes you think that? Because you returned $100,000 when you needed money. Because you're working 2 jobs to take care of yourself and your mother. Because you're here with me, despite knowing it could cause problems. Marcus cupped her face gently. Those aren't the actions of someone who's weak. Lily felt tears prick her eyes. She'd been so focused on survival for so long that she'd forgotten to see herself as strong. I'm scared, she whispered. Of what? Of letting you matter too much, of getting used to this and then losing it. Marcus was quiet for a long moment. I can't promise you won't get hurt, he said finally. I can't promise this will be easy or that it will work out the way we want. But I can promise you that I'm not playing games with you, Lily. What I feel for you is real. What do you feel for me? Marcus looked into her eyes, his expression serious. I'm falling in love with you. The words hung between them, honest and vulnerable and terrifying. Lily felt her heart stop, then start again at double speed. Marcus, you don't have to say anything. I just wanted you to know. But Lily did want to say something. The words had been building inside her for days, scary and wonderful and inevitable. I'm falling in love with you too, she whispered. Marcus's smile was radiant. He leaned down and kissed her, slow and deep and full of promise. When they broke apart, Lily felt like the world had shifted around them. Everything was different now, more real, more precious, more fragile. And as Marcus held her close in the soft candlelight, Lily made a decision. Whatever challenges came next, whatever obstacles they had to face, she wasn't going to let fear drive her away from the best thing that had ever happened to her. She was going to fight for this, for him, for them, for the future they might build together, one careful day at a time. 3 weeks after their first I love you, Lily's world began to unravel. It started with her hours being cut at the hotel. Gloria claimed it was budget-related, but Lily knew better. Instead of 5 days a week, she was down to 3. Instead of full shifts, she got 4-hour blocks that barely covered her bus fare. This is retaliation, Tanya said angrily as they watched the new schedule. Everyone can see what she's doing. Seeing it and proving it are different things, Lily replied, calculating her reduced income in her head. The numbers weren't good. You should file a complaint with HR, Lily laughed bitterly. HR. Gloria probably wrote the new schedule on HR's orders. Hotels don't want staff who cause problems with guests. The financial pressure came at the worst possible time. Ellen had fallen and sprained her wrist, forcing her to take unpaid leave from the diner. Her mother tried to hide the worry, but Lily could see the stress in her face when bills arrived in the mail. I'm fine, sweetheart, Ellen insisted when Lily offered to help with grocery money. You need to save your own pennies. But Lily's pennies were disappearing fast. Between reduced hours and her mother's needs, she was sliding backward financially. The progress she'd made since Daniel felt fragile and temporary. She tried to hide the stress from Marcus, but he noticed her distraction during their coffee dates. You're somewhere else tonight, he observed gently. What's going on? Lily stirred her latte unnecessarily. Just Work stuff. What kind of work stuff? She told him about the hour cuts, about Gloria's increasingly hostile attitude, about the whispers that followed her through hotel corridors. Marcus's jaw tightened as she spoke. "This is harassment," he said when she finished. "This is reality. No, this is someone abusing their power to punish you for choices that aren't their business." Lily appreciated his anger on her behalf, but it couldn't change her situation. Getting angry won't fix it, Marcus. Maybe not, but letting it continue won't fix it either. "What do you want me to do? Quit? I need this job." Marcus was quiet for a moment. "What if you didn't?" "Didn't what?" "Need this job. What if you had other options?" Lily felt a familiar wariness creep into her chest. "What kind of other options?" "I could help you." "No." The word came out sharper than Lily intended. "No, Marcus, we've talked about this. We've talked about not giving you money directly. This would be different." "How?" Marcus leaned forward, his voice earnest. "I could help you pay for school, community college, books, everything. You could focus on getting your teaching degree instead of working yourself into the ground." The offer was generous and well-meaning, but it terrified Lily more than Gloria's petty cruelties. This was exactly how Daniel had started, small offers of help that gradually made her dependent on his generosity. "I can't let you do that," she said quietly. "Why not?" "Because then what happens between us isn't about love anymore. It's about money." Marcus looked hurt. "You think I'm trying to buy you?" "I think you're trying to rescue me, and I can't be rescued, Marcus. I have to stand on my own feet." "Even if standing on your own feet means suffering unnecessarily?" "Especially then." They sat in tense silence until Marcus spoke again. "I don't understand why accepting help makes you weak." "Because help turns into control. Always." "Not always." "In my experience, always." Marcus studied her face, seeing the fear she tried to hide. "This is about Daniel. This is about me. About keeping my independence. Even if your independence costs us our relationship." The question hung between them like a challenge. Lily felt tears prick her eyes. "Is that what you're saying? That I have to choose between accepting your money and losing you?" "That's not what I'm saying at all." Marcus's voice was gentle now. "I'm saying I care about you and I don't want to watch you struggle when I could help. And I'm saying that your help would change everything between us." "How?" "Because then I'd owe you. And when you owe someone, they own a piece of you." Marcus reached across the table and took her hand. "Lily, I would never." "You wouldn't mean to," she interrupted. "But it would happen anyway. Money always comes with strings, even when people don't mean to attach them." They talked in circles for another hour, neither able to bridge the gap between his desire to help and her need for independence. By the time they parted ways, both were frustrated and hurt. The crisis came 2 days later. Ellen fell again, this time hitting her head on the bathroom floor. A neighbor found her and called an ambulance. Lily rushed to the hospital from work, still wearing her cleaning uniform, her heart pounding with terror. "She's going to be fine," the doctor assured her after what felt like hours of waiting. "Mild concussion, but no serious damage. We want to keep her overnight for observation." Lily sat beside her mother's hospital bed, holding Ellen's hand while she dozed. The medical bills would be enormous. Even with Ellen's limited insurance, there would be co-pays, deductibles, medications. Lily did math in her head, calculating and recalculating. Between her reduced hours and her mother's medical expenses, they were heading for financial disaster. Her phone buzzed with a text from Marcus. "Heard about your mom from Tanya's sister who works at the hospital. On my way." Lily stared at the message, feeling torn between gratitude and dread. She wanted his support, but she also knew he'd offer money again. And this time, with her mother lying in a hospital bed, her resistance might crumble. Marcus appeared in the doorway 20 minutes later, carrying coffee and wearing an expression of deep concern. "How is she?" he asked softly. "She'll be okay. Concussion, but nothing serious." Marcus handed her the coffee and sat in the chair beside her. "How are you?" "Scared," Lily admitted. "About the bills, about what happens next." "Lily, please don't," she said quickly. "Please don't offer money right now. I can't think clearly enough to make good decisions." Marcus nodded, understanding. They sat in silence, watching Ellen sleep until Lily's phone rang. It was Gloria. "Carter, Where are you? You missed your afternoon shift. I'm at the hospital with my mother. She had an accident. Well, you should have called in properly. This is going to be another write-up. Lily felt something snap inside her. My mother's in the hospital with a head injury, and you're worried about paperwork. I'm worried about employees who don't follow proper procedures. Then find new employees, Lily heard herself saying. I quit. She hung up before Gloria could respond, her hands shaking with adrenaline and terror. Marcus stared at her with wide eyes. Did you just quit my job? Yes? Lily laughed, but it sounded slightly hysterical. I just quit my job while sitting in a hospital with no savings and a mother who needs medical care. Lily, I know what you're going to say, and the answer is still no. Marcus was quiet for a moment. What if I'm not offering to give you money? What if I'm offering you a job? Lily looked at him suspiciously. What kind of job? I need someone to manage the apartment building, collect rent, handle maintenance requests, deal with tenant issues. It's real work for real pay. Marcus, before you say no, hear me out. The building has 16 units. Standard property management fee is 10% of rental income. That's about $3,000 a month to start, more as I raise rents to fair market value. Lily's head spun. $3,000 a month was more than she'd ever made in her life. You can't just invent a job for me. I'm not inventing it. I need a property manager. Most companies would charge 12 to 15%. I'm offering you 10 because I trust you and because you'd be better at it than some corporation. I don't know anything about property management. You know about customer service, organization, and treating people fairly. That's 90% of the job. The rest you can learn. Lily wanted to say yes so badly it hurt, but accepting felt like crossing a line she'd sworn never to cross again. What happens to us if the job doesn't work out? She asked. What happens to us if you say no and struggle unnecessarily? Ellen stirred in her hospital bed, opening her eyes and looking between Lily and Marcus with confusion. Mom, how are you feeling? Like I got hit by a truck. Ellen's voice was hoarse but alert. Who's your young man? This is Marcus. Mom. Marcus Reed. Ellen studied Marcus with sharp eyes despite her injury. The millionaire. Yes, ma'am. The one who wants to take care of my stubborn daughter. Marcus smiled. She's very independent. Too independent sometimes. Ellen squeezed Lily's hand. Honey, pride is good up to a point. After that, it's just fear wearing fancy clothes. Mom, I'm not saying take charity, but if someone offers you honest work for honest pay and you turn it down because you're scared of owing them something, Ellen shook her head carefully. That's letting fear make your decisions. Lily looked between her mother and Marcus, feeling the weight of the choice, fear or faith, safety or growth, the past or the future. If I take this job, she said slowly, it has to be real. Real responsibilities, real accountability. If I mess up, you fire me. Agreed, Marcus said immediately, and what happens between us personally stays separate from work. Agreed. And if we break up, I keep the job as long as I'm doing it well. Marcus hesitated. What if it's too hard, working together after, then we figure it out like adults. But I won't lose my livelihood because a relationship doesn't work out. Fair enough. Ellen watched their negotiation with approval. You two sound like you're planning to get married. Both Lily and Marcus blushed furiously. Mom! What? I'm just saying most people don't negotiate employment contracts with that much care unless they're thinking long term. Despite everything, Lily found herself laughing. Trust her mother to cut straight to the heart of things, even with a concussion. So, Marcus asked gently, partners? Lily took a deep breath. Partners. The next 3 months transformed Lily's life in ways she'd never imagined. Managing Marcus's apartment building turned out to be challenging but rewarding work. She coordinated repairs, mediated tenant disputes, and gradually learned the business side of real estate. More importantly, she was good at it. Tenants trusted her because she understood what it was like to worry about rent and repairs. Marcus trusted her because she treated his investment like her own. The vacancy rate is down to 0, she reported during one of their weekly business meetings, and tenant satisfaction scores are up 30% from the previous management company. Marcus smiled across his kitchen table, where they'd spread rental reports and maintenance schedules. Any regrets about leaving the hotel? Only that I didn't do it sooner. It was true. Lily had never realized how much Gloria's constant criticism had worn her down until she was free of it. Working for herself, and for someone who respected her judgment, felt like breathing clean air after years in a smoky room. The money helped too, though Lily was careful not to let it change her too dramatically. She and Ellen moved to a slightly larger apartment with better heating and no stairs for Ellen to navigate. Lily bought her first car, a reliable used sedan that got her to work without depending on buses. Most importantly, she enrolled in night classes at the community college. 2 courses to start: Introduction to Education and English Composition. Small steps toward the teaching career she'd almost given up on. "How are the classes going?" Marcus asked as they cleaned up their work papers. "Hard but good. I'd forgotten how much I love learning." "And the other students? Do you feel behind?" "Some of them are straight out of high school, which is intimidating. But some are older, like me. People changing careers or going back to finish degrees they started years ago." Marcus moved behind her chair and began massaging her shoulders, working out the tension from a long day. "I'm proud of you." "For what?" "For taking the chance, for trusting yourself, for trusting me." Lily leaned back against his chest, feeling the solid warmth of him. "It wasn't trust in you that was hard. It was trust in myself." "What do you mean?" "Trusting that I could handle success without losing myself, trusting that I deserved good things." Marcus pressed a kiss to the top of her head. "And now?" "Now I'm starting to believe it." They'd been living together for 6 weeks, a gradual transition that felt natural rather than forced. Lily kept her own apartment for a few months, spending more and more nights at Marcus's place until Ellen finally said, "Honey, you're paying rent on a place where you keep your winter coats. Just move in with the man." The transition hadn't been without challenges. They'd had to learn each other's habits, negotiate space and schedules, figure out how to balance work relationships with personal ones. But overall, it felt right, like coming home. "Marcus," Lily said as they settled onto the couch with evening coffee. "Yeah? I want to meet your mother." Marcus looked surprised. "Really?" "Really. If this is as serious as it feels, I should know the woman who raised you." "It is that serious," Marcus said quietly. "For me, anyway. For me, too." They'd talked about the future in general terms, Marcus's plans for buying more properties, Lily's progress toward her teaching degree. But they hadn't talked about their future together explicitly. "Where do you see this going?" Lily asked, echoing the question she'd asked months earlier in the park. "Honestly?" "Honestly." Marcus set down his coffee and turned to face her fully. "I see us building something together, not just a business relationship or a romantic relationship, but a real partnership. I see you finishing your degree and teaching kids who need someone who understands what it's like to work for everything you have. And I see us finding ways to use what we've built to help other people. Maybe scholarship programs for kids like you who can't afford college, maybe housing programs for working families. I don't know exactly what form it takes, but I know I want to do it with you." Lily felt tears prick her eyes. "That sounds wonderful. What about you? Where do you see this going?" Lily thought about the scared, hurt woman she'd been 6 months ago. The one who'd found a suitcase full of money and almost talked herself out of returning it. The one who'd been so afraid of being controlled that she'd nearly run from the best thing that ever happened to her. "I see us proving that love doesn't have to be about power or control," she said slowly. "I see us building something that's bigger than either of us alone, but that doesn't swallow us up. I see us showing other people that different worlds don't have to stay separate." Marcus reached into his pocket and pulled out a small black box. Lily's heart stopped. "Marcus, before you panic," he said quickly, "this isn't what you think it is." He opened the box to reveal not a ring, but a key. "It's the key to the first apartment I ever bought," Marcus explained. "A tiny studio that I lived in for 3 years while I saved money for something bigger. I've kept it all this time as a reminder of where I started." "Why are you giving it to me?" "Because you've reminded me that where you start doesn't matter nearly as much as who you choose to travel with." Marcus took her hand. "I love you, Lily Carter. Not because you returned my money, not because you're perfect, but because you're brave enough to keep growing even when it's scary." I love you too, Lily whispered. Good, because I have a business proposition for you. Lily laughed through her tears. Another one? The last one, I promise. I want you to be my partner, not just in managing one building, but in building something bigger. Reed Carter Properties. What do you think? I think you're crazy. Crazy in love? Crazy in love with a hotel maid who doesn't know anything about real estate. Former hotel maid, Marcus corrected, current property manager, and future real estate mogul. Don't get ahead of yourself. Marcus kissed her then, soft and sweet and full of promise. When they broke apart, Lily felt like the luckiest woman in the world. So, Marcus said, partners? Partners, Lily agreed. As they sat together on the couch, planning and dreaming and falling even deeper in love, neither of them noticed the old black suitcase tucked away in the bedroom closet. It sat empty now, waiting to be filled with new memories instead of old fears. Because sometimes the most valuable things you can lose are the ones that were holding you back. 2 years later, Lily stood in front of her first classroom, looking out at 28 eager third-grade faces. Her teaching degree hung on the wall behind her desk, next to a photo of her and Marcus on their wedding day. Good morning, class, she said with a smile. I'm Mrs. Reed, and I'm excited to be your teacher this year. The children responded with varying levels of enthusiasm, and Lily felt that familiar flutter of nervous excitement. She'd worked so hard for this moment. Night classes, student teaching, certification exams. Every step had been worth it to be standing here now. After school, she drove to the newest Reed Carter property, a small complex of affordable apartments for working families. Marcus was in the office, reviewing applications with their newest employee, Tanya, who'd left the hotel to become their leasing manager. How was the first day? Marcus asked, pulling Lily into his arms. Perfect. Terrifying and perfect. Any regrets about leaving property management? Lily looked around the office they'd built together, at the awards on the wall recognizing their commitment to fair housing, at the photos of families who'd found safe, affordable homes through their work. No regrets, she said firmly, but I'm glad we're doing this together. Marcus kissed her forehead. Me too. As they locked up the office for the evening, Lily thought about the suitcase that had started it all. It sat in their bedroom closet now, filled with mementos of their journey together, the apology letter from the hotel, photos from their wedding, the deed to their first property, Lily's teaching certificate. What had once held fear and temptation now held love and memories. Proof that sometimes losing something is the first step toward finding everything you never knew you wanted. Marcus took her hand as they walked to their car, wedding rings catching the late afternoon light. In a few hours, they'd have dinner with Ellen, who'd insisted on cooking for them despite her arthritis. Tomorrow, Marcus would meet with city planners about their next development project, while Lily taught her students about fractions and friendship. It was an ordinary life made extraordinary by love, trust, and the courage to choose hope over fear. Ready to go home? Marcus asked. Ready, Lily said, and meant it with her whole heart. Behind them, the setting sun painted the sky in shades of gold and possibility, lighting the way toward a future they'd built together, one careful, faithful day at a time. 5 years later, the knock on the door came at exactly 6 o'clock, just as Lily was putting the finishing touches on dinner. She smiled, knowing it was Ellen arriving right on time, as always. But when she opened the door, she found a young woman she didn't recognize standing on the porch, holding the hand of a little girl with wide, scared eyes. Mrs. Reed? The woman asked nervously. I'm Sarah Martinez. I live in Building C, Apartment 12. I'm sorry to bother you at home, but I didn't know who else to ask. It's no bother, Lily said immediately. What's wrong? My childcare fell through, and I have to work tonight or I'll lose my job. I heard someone said you used to be a teacher. I was wondering. Sarah's voice trailed off, embarrassment coloring her cheeks. Lily looked down at the little girl, who couldn't have been more than 5. She was clean and well-dressed, but there was something in her posture that Lily recognized, the wariness of a child who'd learned too young that the world wasn't always safe. What's your name, sweetheart? Lily asked gently. Maria, the girl whispered. That's a beautiful name. I'm Mrs. Lily. Maria peeked up at her with curious eyes, and Lily felt her heart squeeze. Come in, she said to Sarah, both of you. Marcus appeared from the kitchen, having heard voices. When he saw their visitors, his face immediately shifted to the same welcoming warmth that had made Lily fall in love with him. "Sarah, this is my husband Marcus," Lily said. "Marcus, Sarah, and Maria from Building C." "Nice to meet you," Marcus said, crouching down to Maria's level. "That's a pretty doll you have there." Maria clutched her worn baby doll closer, but managed a small smile. Sarah explained her situation quickly. The babysitter was sick. Her job at the hotel restaurant started in an hour, and she couldn't afford to miss another shift. "Of course Maria can stay here," Lily said without hesitation. "Ellen, my mother, is coming for dinner anyway. She loves kids." Relief flooded Sarah's face. "Thank you so much. I'll pay you." "You'll do nothing of the sort," Lily interrupted gently. "We're neighbors. Neighbors help each other." As Sarah hugged Maria goodbye and left for work, Lily felt Marcus watching her with an expression she recognized. "What?" she asked. "Nothing. Just, remember when you used to be afraid of accepting help?" "I wasn't afraid of accepting help. I was afraid of accepting help from you," Marcus laughed. "Fair point. And now?" "Now I understand the difference between help that comes with strings and help that comes from kindness." Ellen arrived a few minutes later, delighted to find a shy little girl hiding behind Lily's skirts. Within an hour, Maria was chattering freely about her favorite books and helping Ellen set the table. "She's sweet," Ellen observed quietly while Maria was distracted with coloring. "She is, and Sarah's working so hard. Single mom trying to make ends meet." "Sounds familiar," Marcus said with a meaningful look. "Very familiar." That night, after Sarah picked up a sleepy Maria with profuse thanks, Lily and Marcus sat on their porch swing, watching the lights come on in the apartment windows across the courtyard. "Remember when we talked about using what we've built to help people?" Marcus asked. "I remember. What if we started an after-school program? Here, in the community center we've been planning, a safe place for kids whose parents work late shifts." Lily turned to look at him, excitement building in her chest. "That's a wonderful idea. You could run it, use your teaching skills in a different way. And you could handle the business side. Partners again?" "Always partners." They sat in comfortable silence, planning and dreaming as they had so many times before. Across the courtyard, Lily could see Sarah's apartment, where a light burned in the window, where a single mother was probably helping her daughter with homework or reading her a bedtime story. In apartments above and below and beside Sarah's, other families were settling in for the night, families who had safe, affordable places to live because Lily and Marcus had chosen to build something meaningful together. "Do you ever think about the suitcase?" Marcus asked suddenly. "Sometimes, do you?" "All the time. How different things would be if you'd kept that money instead of returning it." Lily considered this. "I don't think they would be different, actually." "No?" "No, because the person who would have kept that money wouldn't have been someone you could fall in love with. And the person who could steal wouldn't have been someone capable of building all this." She gestured at the apartments around them, at the community they'd created, at the life they'd built together. "You think it was destiny?" Marcus asked with a smile. "I think it was choice," Lily said. 100 small choices to do the right thing, even when it was hard, even when it was scary. Marcus pulled her closer on the swing. "Best choice I ever made was asking you to dinner. Best choice I ever made was saying yes." As they rocked gently in the evening air, Lily thought about the scared woman she'd been when she first found that suitcase. How far she'd come, how much she'd grown, how much love she'd found, not because someone rescued her, but because she'd learned to rescue herself. The suitcase still sat in their bedroom closet, filled with memories now instead of money. But the real treasure wasn't in the case. It was in the life they'd built together, one honest, loving choice at a time. And in the morning, they'd wake up and make more choices: how to love better, how to serve their community, how to raise the children they hoped to have someday in a world where kindness mattered more than wealth, where character counted more than cash. The suitcase had been lost and found, but what they'd discovered in finding each other was a love that could never be lost. Only shared, only grown, only passed on to the next generation, like a precious inheritance that increased in value every time it changed hands. Lily reached over and took Marcus's hand, their wedding rings clicking softly together. "Ready to go in?" he asked. Ready, she said, and meant it with all her heart. Together, they stood and walked toward their home, toward their future, toward the life they'd chosen to build together. Behind them, the empty swing rocked gently in the evening breeze, keeping time like a heartbeat, steady and sure and full of promise.